dancing, feeling free on that asphalt lane. Oh, wide at Talladega, they ain't holding no chain.
Gordon's right back comfort, and we get busy. Bars and under the sun, watch Everest 19.
Four cars side by side in a wild friend ride, with the roar of the engines leaving all doubts behind. As the wheels spin on, chasing dreams we can't hide. That's car life where legends never die.
Welcome everybody to episode 19. We've made it to number 19. I guess we should say hola, right? Austin, go ahead. I know that you probably have something prepared today. Go ahead.
Just wanted to say, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah. See,
Viva Mexico.
Viva la Mexico.
Obviously, we have our translation expert, Austin, here with us today. He's our fluent in all kinds of languages, especially Dutch. He loves the Netherlands.
Fluent.
Just like we love the Netherlands.
Shout out Deutschland.
And we got Blanco with us once again today.
What's up, guys?
And Kent, we don't know where the frick he is. He may join us. He may not. He is MIA. I've texted him about 5 times, but I got a message back from him. So I know he's out and doing church camp stuff and vacation Bible school stuff all at the same time. So it's a nice, fun time, which I guess I mentioned this while we're getting to the intro. Everything here is 3 of the 4 of us are involved in ministry and do summer camps, vacation Bible schools and stuff. Obviously, I'm not. These other 2 are. And it takes a lot of time to prepare those events. There's a lot of background orchestration that goes on, just like any other event that you put on. So it may just be me a couple of these weeks, which I have a few guests lined up. I've been working the back channel, so it won't just be me talking the entire time. But there might be 1 or 2 episodes here, June to July, where it's just me. So sorry, you're stuck with me. That's all you'll get to hear is me.
Hey, at least the episodes will be short. So
Yeah,
Baby.
they'll probably get ratings.
I'll put my Kent hat on and just go on my monologue.
just gotta work on your impression of him.
Yeah, I can't do an Austin impression. I do a Blake impression pretty easily. You got just the beard scratching. I got the posture down.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That Talladega dirt race really was. It was really a master class to be able to figure out the posture.
There were tons
Blakeisms.
of class things going on at that dirt track.
That was a lot. There was cowbells ringing. There was, there was me. But I don't know. There's some cowbells probably in Michigan that were ringing. Monday morning after the racetrack. But I guess we'll talk about Saturday first. Which, first of all, not having racing on Friday, it felt almost like anti-religious in a way. In all honesty, after you just associate truck races on Friday, and then Xfinity on Saturday, and Sunday's Cup. And then when they had the off week, sometimes they just keep it Friday. And you won't have any racing Saturday, but this week it's just this empty part of my soul that was going on. No racing on Friday.
ARCA was on FS2, man. Are you telling me that didn't fill the void for you?
I mean, it kind of did, kind of didn't. And then Saturday, I woke up and the race was 2/3 done for the truck race because I looked at the wrong start time. I thought it said 4:30. I went back and watched the race completely after that, but seems like I didn't miss a lot in the first 2 stages. It looked like the Corey Haim show once again. And then the third stage is where it made everything really interesting. So I'll let you guys talk about that. I'll let Blake start. Just overall discussions of the truck race, your thoughts, yada yada.
Yeah, so I didn't get a chance to really watch it, but I listened to the last 20 laps of regulation on the radio. I was actually headed to one of my friend John Small's wedding this weekend, and you know what's wild? They had 3 overtime restarts or something this weekend, and from the time it took me to get from Mebane, North Carolina, to, let's say, Lexington, which is about 50 minutes, is the time it took them to run those last 20 laps of regulation and the 3 overtimes. And just to kind of put it in context of how long that took, but I thought the way that the announcers were announcing it over the NASCAR radio network that they've got for the truck series now, I mean, it looked they were zigging and zagging and doing crossovers, and it sounded like it was like 3-4 wide racing, and it was almost like chess at 180, 190 mile an hour, it seemed like. So that crash there on the one of those restarts with Ross and all them that where they didn't get their tires going, man, that was quite unfortunate. But you want to talk about the waters parting for people like LaJoy and guys like him. So good to see some guys like a Frankie Muniz be able to get a nice finish. I know that's a good booster for him, and I think that I think it was definitely fun to listen to. What were y'all boys' thoughts on the broadcast?
Go ahead, Austin.
Who watched?
It's got to take a minute.
I
Deep
think
breaths, deep
I would
breaths.
rather watch the broadcast with someone that has a severe stutter than watch what I saw this past Saturday. It was Jamie Little, Lord love her, but that was awful.
Not only that, they just cut each other off so much between the three of them, and I don't know what it was. Obviously, you didn't have like your NASCAR person that came in the booth like a Blaney or anything like that. It's just the three standard, and they've been doing pretty decent with the truck races the last few broadcasts. And then I don't know, it felt like maybe I wasn't the one that woke up and then had to watch the broadcast. Maybe they had to wake up and do the broadcast. They might have woke up in the third stage or something because it was rough. There was one point where Jamie Little was trying to say cautions breed cautions, and then she said like cautions breed, and then it was just a like silence of 15 seconds, and then she's like cautions. I'm like, my gosh.
Was that one wreck where she like screamed into the microphone?
I mean,
Yeah, I'll ask y'all like what specifically was kind of tough about the broadcast for maybe those who didn't get a chance to tune in, but just those two things right there, it kind of makes me like, well, I'm glad I listened to that on the radio.
camera angles
terrible.
sucked.
Yeah,
Really
There's
bad.
a caution. Then it pops up on the screen.
Yeah, like turn 2, and then that person's already driving off at this point.
how long was it before the replays? Were those like inadequate times or not?
Well, the replay sucked, so it didn't really matter.
Horrible camera shots.
It's like the standard like what you seen on the cup side for the truck. It finally broke the fourth wall there. It was wild.
Dang, I hate to hear that.
I do too. I was because the racing was great. The racing's probably just as good as the cup race was.
Yeah,
If not better. And this broadcast just made it seem Bush League
Man,
in comparison.
man, I tell you, the racing, was phenomenal this past weekend. At least, in my opinion, I thought the truck race was more entertaining than the Cup. Just for one thing alone, the insane runs that those boys were able to get coming into those turns, it was insane. You didn't need somebody behind you pushing. You didn't need it. You could just go full throttle in that corner and you'd gain 5 car lengths on somebody. Like it was unreal. And Heim won the stages, but
first two.
it wasn't just him. I mean, all throughout, Hocevar was up there for a little bit, and there were several guys that they kept swapping. It was like that was the third stage. They kept swapping the lead back and forth. Nobody could hold on to the lead. It's just Heim would always time it right. And then
Time, time.
And then you had the red flag for the broken wall.
Yeah. Thing was demolished.
How? Okay, we'll get to it. But how does Bowman's hit not break the wall, but that truck hit did?
Can y'all talk about what happened with the wall there? Because I saw on the NASCAR app on the timeline it said the red flag was out for wall repair, and I'm like, what?
I think it was like literally ripped in the middle. Like it was like
Who
cut.
hit it?
And I think gosh, I couldn't even tell you. It was.
I'm trying to remember.
I mean, they had so many wrecks, but I think it has a lot to do with how the trucks and Xfinity, they have those steel bodies, and now Cup's got these composites, and these composites they're not necessarily metal to metal, so they're not as strong, so they don't cut nearly as bad. But I get what you're saying for sure.
Uh-huh.
I think Bowman's hit, it was more like a compression hit because the wall could take that, especially with the safety barriers and stuff. That's what they're built for. But maybe it was the way the truck hit the wall, it angled.
Sliced it.
Yeah, it's basically like you sliced an onion, or if you're slicing a banana, apple, whatever. It's just big old ripple. And then you see them sit there like trying to patch it. That happened earlier in the year at Rockingham. I think was it the trucks or the Xfinity series? I can't
Pretty
remember
sure it was
which.
Xfinity.
Yep. So I mean, these older style body cars, they're going to do more damage, I would say, not only to the cars themselves, but also to the structures around it. But I'll take a quick look in regards to see what caution that that made that happen.
I think it was Morgan Baird and Nathan Bird.
Yeah. It was the O2 and the regular 2, I think, wasn't it? And those trucks were destroyed, so that would make sense. Like 100%.
Nope. Hard time remembering their names.
They were running
My
like
goodness.
26, so there's a reason.
Yeah, it was. They were far back there.
All up running 26.
Well,
at least they're hard, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, there was several like really good guys that got in similar incidents. Lawless Allen, I know that he had a lot happen previously in his truck series tenure, but he's been doing really well in the ARCA series, and moving back up to the trucks for these select starts. He was doing really well. He was in the top 10, and he hit the wall really hard towards the end of the race. He ended up finishing like 28th. Daniel Hemrick got in a similar incident. Chastain freaking saved it, but what a save. I mean, good Lord.
I heard that part on the radio. It sounded like it was pretty wicked.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically going, 190, 195, and he's just sitting there squirreling. And it's not even like a long slide. It was just like a quick little adjustment. He was straight as an arrow again. That's what was so impressive to me. You see these slides, even like Larson. I think of Larson saving like those long slides going into the corner. I mean, this was on the front stretch or the back stretch. I can't remember which stretch it was, but you're going the fastest at this point, and he was able to save it just like that. Crazy. But Chastain ended up 26 in the race. He had a DBP kind of deal thing where they were trying to work on it so long, and you know how it is, especially in NASCAR these days. But I mean, I think the main thing that people took away from the truck race is the restart that they had. Where
Cletus.
Basically, he Cletused it. It's funny because you had two teammates essentially telling each other, well, it's more Corey Heim telling Gio that he should have went kind of deal thing instead of waiting in the box. And, I mean, in all honesty, when it comes to the restarts, the first two people, well, really, your leader is the one that starts the race. So the people behind him really created the accident, even though they were trying to anticipate the start. because anybody that's ever watched a race at Michigan kind of knows that, like Austin says, they didn't necessarily have to push to be able to race, but on those restarts, that's how you propel. That's how you get the good restart, right? And that didn't happen, and both lanes did it. It wasn't just one lane freaked up. It was both lanes freaked up, and that's what ended up creating the big kerfuffle, catastrophe, whatever you want to call it. It was rough. But what was your overall thoughts, Austin? I know you actually physically got to see the incident happen.
I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, it literally felt like that ARCA race, but I was like, it was just caution after caution after caution after caution after caution, especially there towards the end. And it was honestly, it was hilarious, but also I texted you, I was like, what on earth are they doing? Like, what is this? This is Bush League like crap right here. So yeah, it was ridiculous.
Like the call to the restart is like, we can't. What was Jamie Little say? Like, we can't even get going or something like that. I'm like, well, that's a great way to sell your series there. It's like, can't even cross the start finish line without having incidents. Speaking of start finish line, that kind of brings up the Hocevar penalty towards the end of the race. He's having a really good run. Native track to him, obviously, on the circuit. I think he raced at Berlin earlier in the week, and he ended up winning a race there. Had a chance to win 2 other races this weekend, and this restart violation, which was super duper close. Obviously, Blake didn't see it because he was listening to the radio because he's a scrub. But
dang, bro,
my friend got married, man.
I was watching college basketball at my buddy's wedding one year. I mean, it is what it is. But Austin, I know that you were genuinely upset for Hocevar, but you also had a dog in the fight, so to speak, with picking Hocevar. I do believe in the competition. So, talk about your thoughts when they called that penalty on Hocevar, and essentially that the penalty being that he tried to advance his position before they got to the green flag start, where the start finish line was.
It was close. It was really close. I mean, but even I can't remember if it was Michael Waltrip or if it was Regan.
It's Regan
Yeah,
Smith,
I
right?
can't remember if it was him or Michael Waltrip, but they were like, I don't know if I'd call that. Like, it was pretty much bang bang. I've seen, it's like you said, Cole. I've seen more flagrant than that. It was frustrating, mainly because I like Kosovar. You know, I won't go say he's like my second favorite driver, but I like to see him win. I think he's good for the sport. But I thought it was
Blake will tell him he's probably his 71st favorite driver.
Yeah, he's let's see, R77. Yeah, 71st is probably.
It's not even 70 cars in the Cup Series. But yeah, it's very close. It's hard to call, but the man took the penalty and restarted. I forgot how many positions he made up.
bunch.
He ended up 12th, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, 12th or 13th, I think. Yeah.
And the driver that I picked finished one position in front of him. I'm like, my man made distance on that restart. That just shows how strong that truck is. I mean, how it's been. I mean, it's been consistently good the last few weeks. It's just like, why can't you guys give Raja this on a week in, a week out basis?
Yeah.
Like, I know they're different caliber drivers, and I'm not saying Raja is not as good as Hocevar, but obviously Hocevar's got more experience, especially on the upper level. But the level of the trucks are not very consistent. It's that 7 truck does really, really good. The 07 truck does moderately good sometimes. And then Raja's truck, most of the time, it's just like meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he's got a good truck, he's in the top 10 pretty consistently. But there's some racetracks where they just completely miss the setup. He'll be like 15th, 20th. So, alrighty. Well, I think that's enough. Obviously, my I don't think necessarily Gio did a mistake kind of deal thing that everybody painted him out to be. Because I mean, obviously he's a rookie. I don't think it was like he made a blunder or anything. It wasn't like horrific, and it wasn't like he spun the tires or anything. It was just a bad judgment call, and it
Well,
happens.
I'm sure too. Like, if you're that close to being able to get your first win at a track like Michigan, where all the most of the manufacturers are just 50 miles, 100 miles away there in Detroit, right? You want to be able to get a win for the manufacturer, and so I'd almost be interested to see if I don't know if they did any post race interviews, but just a few of them, just the nerves got in the way.
That was another thing that pissed me off. Stuart Friesen wins the race, by the way. Hadn't even mentioned that. Congratulations to him.
For sure.
I mean, how did we forget about that?
Yeah.
Good job there, host over here. A guy that was considered moving on from the truck series earlier in the year at Rockingham when he had that big old freaking accident, had a fantastic truck, and was pissed off, was flipping off his crewman or whatever on pit road or whatever. It was like a big ordeal. Yeah. So him be able to get on the front row on that last restart was absolutely insane. I don't know how anybody would have. I don't know why Ben Rhodes chose the way he did. I know some people are saying it may have been like he got faked out kind of ordeal, but I'm happy for Friesen. But the broadcast literally cuts off Blake. Literally cuts off as he's coming out of the truck in victory lane, about to go like woo, and like, all right, we're going to move on to horse racing and wherever the frick we're going to, and it was it. Yeah, that was it. I was like, no post race interviews.
Dang, I know.
If there was one, it was like one post race interview.
Belmont's important, but you'd like to interview the winner a good amount at least,
Well, I mean, my thoughts go to someone like Luke Fenhouse, who had an absolutely amazing day in that 66 truck, obviously qualified on the pole. Yeah. He ended up finishing fairly high. I think he finished third in the race. And they're just like, no, we ain't going to talk about Luke Fenhouse. We're just going to move on to.
Which is a shame, because I think I know a Thor Sports based there out of Ohio, there in the Midwest. I almost wonder in relation to where their shop's at, if Michigan is technically like a home race for them, just to add even more on the disappointment is not to interview them.
Yeah, I think Enfinger's the only one that they got to talk to. I think Enfinger, because I remember when Enfinger talks, because he's got a very distinct voice and persona. Yeah. So.
Dang, that's really unfortunate. I hope that, and I get it's not always going to be the same between streaming and network television, but you would hope that they could all learn from each other and everybody raises the quality. Everybody raises the expectation, right? And I think Fox could probably learn a little bit from Prime, right? I mean, I know that they can't do a 6-hour coverage the way that Prime can, right? But at least a little post race, at least a little bit better camera angles. I mean, the Goodyear blimps there for the whole weekend, be able to get some overhead shots the way that Prime does, show a lot of the racing that's going on. I think that would probably benefit them well.
Well, moving on to a race that had way better coverage, we're going to talk about the Cup race. Just overall, my main gripe with this whole ordeal is it still ticks me off that the Coke 600 was rated lower than this Michigan race on the Gluck poll. I know that it's only 2%, but it still pisses me off because I feel like the Coke 600 was such a phenomenal race.
I was thinking about that today, and I'd like to know y'all's guys' takes. Do you think, with the stages kind of taking away a good amount of the fuel mileage races, do you think that the fact that it was a fuel mileage race to an extent on Sunday, do you think a lot of fans were excited to see that again, and they voted in the affirmative more than what they might usually would?
I don't know.
I don't know what I think about that either. I just wanted to get y'all on it.
That's Austin.
I don't know. I really don't understand why people thought that this was a better race. Granted, the 600 was dominated by Byron for the first half of the race, which may have played into it. I don't know.
And to add on to that, just playing devil's advocate, I tell you, stage 2 at the 600 was rough.
Yeah, it was rough on TV.
Yeah.
First stage of this race was kind of rough, though, in all honesty. Second stage is when it got picked up energy.
Yeah.
I think not only, first, I will say that the Coke 600 had like 33,000 votes, where this race only had 25,000 votes.
Something to consider, for sure.
So I'm sure a lot of the votes that were negative were probably people mad because it was on Prime and they had no idea and they missed the race.
Or maybe because Hamlin won. That's probably got to throw a wrench in it a little bit.
I was talking about for the Coke 600. That would be the one that it would factor more into.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
I don't think Hamlin had anything to do with it. In all honesty, maybe like 3%, but I think most people are just like, well, it is what it is at this point. You can only hate a guy so much, I guess. There's a certain limitation to that. We'll ask Kent about Logano when he gets on. Like, is there a limitation? Is there does it rise every year or is it like plateau?
If our podcast ever got big enough and he was on late, man, it would be awesome to have like Logano on here just waiting.
Just waiting for him.
And then like
Ricky and waiting on Kyle Busch.
And then Austin doing for Austin one week.
Oh my gosh.
Man, we get tons of you.
But I think that it did bring a great aspect to it, because if it was just a regular race at the end, I don't know if it would be rated nearly as high, if that makes sense, because first of all, Amazon Prime did a fantastic job writing the narrative the whole entire time, because the way that Fox usually does these fuel mileage races is they're going to be short on fuel. This guy might be all right. All right, go back to the racing. That's how Fox has done their fuel mileage races. Of course, you got Larry Mack giving you your windows and stuff. That's cool. That's what you would expect. But Prime sits here and says, all right, this guy's got exactly 2 laps. This guy's got 1.5 laps. This person's got 1 lap. This guy's right there on the edge. And then they're showing, the top 5, 6, 7 cars, and they're comparing them via this burn bar, this AI generated burn bar. And you're really writing a story with this. You're really putting all the points to the T, to the dot, and essentially making this, like I said before last week, it's a story. It feels like they're writing a story, and it's a new chapter, obviously, with the fuel mileage race. This is something that you don't see a lot of, but it also helps that the overall racing itself was also interesting. It wasn't just like, all right, we'll watch the same guy lead for 200 laps, and then it's fuel mileage race at the end. No, there was good racing in between, second stage and the last stage. So that's my main thoughts, I guess. Yeah. That would be my interpretations of your question, if that makes sense.
I got you. And something, too, that I was curious about, wanting to get y'all's take. Do y'all think Michigan is back after this weekend?
Good. I feel like Michigan's always been good. It's just, I think it's always been, I say that the Xfinity race last year was not fantastic. There's a reason that they moved to the truck races.
I remember there was some races, man, like they did a high high amount of drag package. Oh my gosh. That was some of the worst racing I've ever seen.
I find it hard to base, one race being the basis of always back kind of deal thing. It's there's anomalies everywhere with data points. I think of like Michigan, for instance, last year. The race was okay, right? It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like blew out of the water kind of ordeal. I can pull that up. Another thing guys might want to talk about is obviously the heartbreak for Hocevar. Had that tire go down, which, I mean, even, at the end of the race, it didn't look like he was going to win anyways because he was going to be short on fuel by a good amount. But what was your overall thoughts when you seen him obviously take the lead and he was doing really well, but of course knowing at the back of the mind is like, okay, this guy's going to run out of fuel anyways. But then you see the tire go down and you're like, freak.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Heartbreak Alley for him, man, because especially at his home track, past few weeks where like 600 arguably had a car to win if a couple things fell his way right on it. Great strategy, and if there could have been a caution those last few laps at Nashville, who knows what could have happened, right, for him to catch up to first. Then on Saturday with that penalty, I mean, that was like a gut punch, right? I mean, I was listening to it on the radio. I'm like, dang. I know that he would love to win, even if it's in the truck series. Like, he would love to win at the track. And then Sunday, you see another potential win. Like, it ain't going to be this week. I tell you, man, if he keeps this up, he's going to find him a win, though. Like, I think he's too talented to be kind of like Sheldon Creed and finish second 15 times or whatever it is now. I think one's going to definitely fall his way. So and I think it's going to be this year. Those Spire cars, I think, have overperformed for the most part.
That singular Spire car has overperformed. The other two cars have been.
Yeah. Well, McDowell's done better compared to what Zane Smith did with it last year. Now, I don't know if you want to compare. I don't know if it's fair to compare Zane Smith.
No, it's not.
But 71 car is doing much better, right? The 7 is a little odd sometimes with how off they are. But then they're good some weeks. For it to be a team just not too long ago they finished with a good day. I mean, they're hauling this year.
I mean, obviously the momentum's in his corner. Won the truck race not too long ago. Won the Open, the All-Star race. People forget about that. He was the car that finished first in that. I know the first two cars qualify in, but he still won that race. Just like how Ty Gibbs won the race not too long ago the same way with the Norfolk Spur Open race. Most people don't think of that as a win, but I mean, at least it's a win in my book, in all honesty. You don't get a trophy for it, but man, he's definitely due for one. And the way that 71 team or 77 team, whatever, 77, that and 71's McDowell.
Yeah.
Yeah. 77 team, they've been bringing good speed. McDowell's had great speed, I'll be honest with you, but when it comes to the long-term balance of those cars, they suck.
Yeah.
Like, they cannot, they can qualify well, but they cannot keep track position.
Briscoe.
Yeah, Briscoe's the same way this year.
Yeah. What's Briscoe on now? 3 straight poles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He finished in the 20s, I think.
Man, if they could translate some of that to, I don't know if it would be worth giving up some qualifying speed for race trim, but they definitely got to be considering that.
It's like I was talking to Austin. I feel like Truex kind of had the same issue last year for a lot of the race. He would qualify really well, and then he would just drop back.
Yeah.
Overall through speed, and then he would eventually work his way back up, which Briscoe did at one point. I know he moved his way back up, and then he fell back down again. And it feels like they're climbing, like they're starting on top of the ladder, and then they just do a free fall down the ladder, just hit their chin and their eye, get a black eye, and then they climb up the ladder with one crippled arm. This is what it feels like every week and with a car like JGR, you're like, man, what is going on there? You got Denny Hamlin that's won 3 races this year. You got Christopher Bell that's won 3 races this year. That's 6 of what? How many races have we raced this year?
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy percentage. And then you're having Briscoe just, and I mean Ty Gibbs. Obviously, there's been struggles there too, but it's just been a mess.
Gibbs is throwing all their energy and equipment at the Hamlin so he can get that championship.
I reckon.
Because Hamlin's been the most consistent
Yeah.
of the bunch, aside from Bell.
Yeah.
Honestly, in our Pick'em series, if you pick Hamlin, most of the time you're at least guaranteed second to third, at worst. It seems like this year.
Unless you can't.
Can't pick him this week.
Unless you can't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He grenades or he loses a transmission.
The week I picked him, his transmission dropped gears. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Blaney syndrome kind of deal thing. The only time that he's not in consideration for a win is when something crappy happens to him. It just crappy stuff happens to Blaney a lot more than it does to Hamlin.
Yeah, for sure.
I know I was going to mention this last week, but you remember when all the Toyota guys were like complaining about their brakes going out last week?
Yeah.
You know, the one person that didn't complain about it is freaking Denny Hamlin. He didn't say a dang thing about it. And I'm like, that's just because he's an old school guy. He's dealt with this crap before. You got these kids coming on and be like, man, this brake pedal, it ain't working right.
Back when there was high horsepower, the brakes weren't, they were made on purpose. They didn't work well, right? And then,
Yeah.
High horsepower, no tire. I mean, he was used to all that.
That's just something that obviously it hit my mind when I was thinking about even looking back this week. So obviously a Toyota won the race. That's 2 straight wins at Michigan for Toyota. That's definitely got to be a smile on their face when they head into the production room. I mean, kind of a slap in the face to Chevy and Ford because they're actually made in Michigan or in Detroit. So it's like, But what were other storylines that really interested you this weekend when you guys were watching the Cup race?
I was looking forward to see how, and this is kind of more of a minute one, but I was looking forward to see how Ricky Stenhouse would bounce back after last week because, running super good, just trying to get consistent finishes. If his car's running 27th, he'd find a way to make it finish 20th, or if his car's running 15th, he'd make a way to make it finish 10th. Just really being super scrappy. And I know with what happened at Nashville last week, that's a quite a big bummer for that team. And just seeing if they would rebound, and they ended up having a decent day. I mean, it wasn't a spectacular day, but it wasn't a DNF, right? So I think that was something that I was kind of looking forward to, and I was kind of curious to see if and I want to preface it with this. I have been irritated on Bowman's behalf, but seeing if Bowman could turn the ship a little bit and be able to, and I don't even want to word it like salvage a finish because it's not his fault, right? It's all these idiots around him who've been screwing him, right? But just seeing if he could have some good luck on his side and being able to get a good finish, because when it's just him, he's doing great. He's a great driver, but man, talk about some bad luck. So that was another thing too. Bless you. Super glad he's all right after that hit too.
Yeah, I was about to say there was someone piloting the ship, but it wasn't him. He got piloted into the wall by the 2 car.
Yeah, I know.
Two in the 1 for Custer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bummer, but I'm right there with you. I was more worried about the hit itself than I was about, the playoff points and whatnot, especially with him having all the medical issues that he's had in the last few years.
That's true. He is I think what could be a good turning point. He is a really good road racer, obviously with his win at Chicago last year. You saw that, but just in general, he's a good road racer, and I think he's got some potential to really uh flip the narrative these coming weeks.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he's won a race at Pocono. Of course, it was a little bit an older car.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe he's won at Dover too, right?
Yep, Dover. And who knows what can happen in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And then Chicago. Who knows about Mexico? I don't. Yeah, but that was something on my mind this weekend too.
Yeah, I think Ricky's Stenhouse is obviously he was a guest door bumper clear this week and did a pretty good job. I enjoyed listening to him a little bit this week, but also I think ironically Hocevar's tire issue helped him gain a couple of points because Hocevar lost a lot of points, obviously going from up front and having to pit to get that tire. If he just had to go get fuel or whatever, it probably would have been less points. So he kind of capitalized on what Hocevar's losses were, which is, like I said, ironic. Guess looking back at what last week was.
Yeah. Well, and that was another story too. Like, obviously, I didn't think that Ricky was going to give Hocevar payback at Michigan, right? I mean, that's definitely not the place you want to pay somebody back at, right? But
Ask Corey LaJoie.
But just kind of seeing how they handled their little conflict after Nashville seems like that's settled. Yeah, just a few things. What about you, Austin?
For me, I was happy to see RFK have a good day.
Yeah.
Brad K finished in 10th and Busher finished in 2nd. Really happy for them to finally, both cars, run well and have a good day. And also, I was watching Legacy because obviously they've been kind of the hot hand, if you will, getting good finishes and that equipment. John Hunter didn't have a good day. Obviously, he got wrecked twice. And then, but Eric Jones finished 11th. So a top 15 finish for him, which, considering where Legacy has come from, I think that's pretty good. So those are the two that I was really watching. Brad even said he felt like they had a really fast car. It's just they could never get up to the front really to prove they had a fast car. Clearly, Busher had the speed. He was right in there for the contention to win. I think if Busher may have had another 5-10 laps, he might have caught Denny. But him and Hamlin were moving through Byron, Larson, and Gibbs. So those were the two storylines that I was mainly watching. And if we're looking ahead to next week, I think I kind of agree with Blake. I think Bowman being consistent at road courses, and I don't know if this one's the best chance for him to get a win, considering it's so fresh and so new. But he needs a bounce back week because it's been a tough year.
That's not been necessarily a tough year. It's just been a rough last 3 to 4 race stretch. In all honesty,
he was on up there in the points to start the year out for sure.
Yeah, he was like in the top 8.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It just shows what happens if you have a whole bunch of DNFs and just crap happen the wrong way. I know that you said the 2 RFK cars, Priest actually finished in 9th. Okay. So you had Busher 2nd, Priest 9th, and Brad K in 10th. That's a fantastic week.
That's a good shot in the arm for them. Well, for Brad, typically the other 2 been running all right. But yeah, it's good to see Brad kind of getting back up there.
And then Zane Smith finished 7th. That's a phenomenal day for him.
Yeah.
Bubba Wallace kind of stops the bleeding. That's 23-11, finished 4th. It was just an overall good day for a whole bunch of different teams. It wasn't just one team that's sitting there on the top. It was
horrible day for Penske. Horrible day for Penske.
It almost looked like they brought their Charlotte cars. I mean, when we were at the 600, you want to talk about irrelevant. That's how the Penske cars were. I'm sure you know that as a fan of them. Yeah. But it's like Man, you would think that you'd bring you bring a little bit of a better product than that in Michigan.
Like Blaney sucked, Logano sucked. Cindric was good, but he had a loose wheel. They had that caution. He had a loose wheel, came down, pitted, and then they found out the wheel was loose. He had to come back down. That put him. He got out of the pits P8 and ended up P31st after that happened, and then he went a lap down, and then never could get the lap back.
That was just a kiss of death there. Yeah, they have no cautions that last little bit. So
yeah, he finished like 30.
Yeah, it was terrible. So he had a good car. I think, I don't know if he had a good enough one to win, but I think he had the potential to finish better than Joey and Blaney. So
he almost got you a free stage point there in the pick'ems, man, with that strategy. Yeah,
sure did. That's what I texted Austin. Like, man, he said, you're so close to getting a point, and then the guy passing him was like, he's gonna be pissed.
I'm like, Austin is whipping our tails this year. I'm like, please do not let him get another stage point off this.
I think Blaney had an overall good day. It's just that spin out towards the end of the race really screwed him up too. The Logano finished like 20.
He was nowhere to be seen.
But there was cars like, obviously you had Byron. He finished 28th. That's a car that early in the race, I mean, you'd be like, he's got a chance, kind of deal thing.
Oh, for sure.
Briscoe finished 23rd. I mean, even like Chase Elliott, 15th. He looked good at a certain point of the race. He led 19 laps. Christopher Bell, 16th. There was a whole bunch of just people. Josh Berry looked like he was going to be up front the whole entire day.
Yeah.
And he got sent to the bottom of the leaderboard and ended up climbing up to 12. So I think that's what a lot of people were seeing when they're saying Michigan was a good race, is there was a lot of fluctuality with all the drivers.
The unpredictability from the strategy was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that created tons of storylines just in and of itself.
But we're going to move from, storyline like that to literally moving to Mexico. I know a lot of the haulers were sitting there on the border waiting to cross this morning, day before. So, man, talk about a logistical nightmare, right? Having to go from Michigan, a track that's fairly, it's in the northern part of United States. Wouldn't you guys agree with that, geography-wise?
Oh, for sure.
It's a little up there, it ain't Canada, but it's pretty close. And having to drive all the way down to, they say Texas is where they're crossing over at?
Yeah, Laredo, Texas.
Yeah. Most people, I mean, just hypothetically speaking, I'm no expert, but you would think maybe a race at, a track like, I don't know, Texas might be a good idea. So they're not killing themselves. Drive from Michigan.
This is what I don't understand about NASCAR, because they're going from Michigan to Mexico City, then back up to Pocono,
then Atlanta,
then down to Atlanta. So
Chicago.
With Formula One, their scheduling actually makes sense. Like, for the most part, they try to cluster tracks that are close together, because logistically, it makes sense. Like when they do COTA, they do COTA, and then guess what track they go to right after COTA? They go to Mexico. Yes. And then they keep going down south after Mexico. They go to Brazil. And then, you're still kind of in the same continental area. And they go to Vegas. And so, then they wrap up the season. The last two races are in the Middle East. So they go over the Middle East. So, it just, to the logical mind, it makes sense. So, I don't understand.
That's your problem. You're thinking about this logically. How dare.
And you know what? To add even more to that, like, they do a pretty okay job of that with the schedule at the first part of the year. I mean, you got Daytona, then Atlanta, then your out west races, then usually your And tracks your core fans would go to, your Martinsville's, your Bristol's. When Richmond had 2 dates, you'd throw in a Richmond there in the spring, right? And then Wilkesboro and Charlotte. But yeah, it does seem kind of odd they go from Michigan to Mexico City, especially when they're going to be right there back in the Midwest come 3 weeks with Chicago.
Then
Yeah.
Andy,
But
It's wild.
yeah,
Freaking wild.
yeah.
I think that the way they schedule their dang races is like, you know what? They're not like logistically minded. They're like story. Like they're worried about the narrative, like coming to the playoffs kind of deal thing. Maybe that's the way they look at it rather than which I think is stupid. Like being straight up honest with you, it's idiotic. You shouldn't do that. But maybe that's what they're doing because other than that, there's no rhyme or reason for this bullcrap.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff we do know on here, but the logistical side, that obviously ain't going to be none of our expertise. So
I don't work at FedEx. I don't know logistics.
who knows? But it would be interesting to if on a couple other podcasts, like does anybody listen to Denny's this week? Because sometimes he would talk about like some logistical stuff, like from a team owner's perspective, like what it would be like to go to Mexico, or does anybody listen? I don't know if he's even
I
talking.
don't know. You're the Denny fan here. I wouldn't know.
I'll have to listen and let y'all know. I have to report back.
All right, got you. You do that like your little Denny trooper that you are.
good boy.
Yeah.
Good boy. But we're moving now to Mexico City, obviously. Only 2 races this weekend. The Truck Series is off, which I swear, guys, I honestly would have been okay with the Xfinity Series not racing here, having them 2 weeks off and seeing the trucks race on road course races, because those trucks on road courses, man, they're something else, which we'll get to see them at Lime Rock here for too long, so I'm looking forward to that.
The trucks are also on the Roval this year. You know that.
Yeah,
My
that's
God,
true.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a full weekend too.
Bro.
The Xfinity cars are there and the Cup cars. So if you're not already depressed by the time the Friday comes around, you could be even more depressed on Saturday. I mean, gosh. But I mean, that's not a true road course race, but that's neither here or there. So in regards to Mexico City, the Xfinity Series is where most of your cars, you got like a whole bunch of open starters essentially. I'll pull those up. You got Alex Obey in the 07. Got Daniel Suarez driving the number 9 this week. Of course, that's a home, quote unquote, home track for him. Number 14, Josh Bilicki. Number 19, Ty Gibbs. 24, Christopher Bell. He'll be racing for Sam Hunt Racing this week. 32, Austin Green. We actually seen him win that ARCA race at Charlotte, so that might be a cool thing to see. The 35 is to be announced at this current moment. 45 of Brad Perez. The number 53 of Sage Karam. And the number 91 of Andres Perez de Lara. So, got 39 drivers going to be making the start, and everybody should be able to make the race because there's a open field of 40 cars there. So, obviously, that's exciting. The Cup race, there is one car that is a open car, and it is the 78 Live Fast Motorsports of Kent's favorite driver, Catherine Legg. So we are. I'm actually honestly, I'm going to be very interested to see how it goes. In all honesty, I think this might be more in her wheelhouse than what Rockingham was.
Well, she's got a background of road racing, right? So it's going to be a little bit more natural to her. I think the whole thing with her at Phoenix, I mean, I think the system set her up to fail like there, right? I mean, it's like, why would you ever make your first start at Phoenix? Why would that be allowed? And so I think It'll be cool to see what she can do at a road course in a cup car. Now, do I think she's going to go out and win? No, absolutely not. But I think if she can get a top 25 on the day, top 20, I think that'll silence some of the haters. It obviously won't silence all, but I think it'd be a respectable day for her if she could.
I also think, in regards to like the way NASCAR fluctuates, you guys can probably speak to this more than me. Y'all have wives. Y'all are married. Her being sponsored by Elf Cosmetics has got to be good for the sport overall because you're bringing a different eye to the sport. I think of Bringer with what was Coach's bags this weekend on her truck. That's a luxury purse brand, wallet brand, whatever.
Coaches,
They make all kinds of crap now. That's a big name. And Elf's a pretty big name too for cosmetics and makeup and whatnot. So that's good. It's just, obviously you're making start with Live Fast Motorsports. No offense, but that's going to be probably in the bottom tier.
well, I'd be interested to see too. And Austin's obviously going to be our Mexico City genius, but if he can be a race of attrition and she can just stay out of trouble, maybe she can crack more than the top 30. I think it'd be good for the sport if she did. I think anytime you can have a woman do well or somebody who's not probably your stereotypical driver do well, I think it can go really well for the sport.
Gotcha. I agree. Kent will be MIA, apparently. So, Rick Kent, man. Come on, Kent. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? We're gonna have to replace you. I'm gonna get on the call. I think Austin's probably got somebody ready. He's probably ready to tap in at this point. Ain't that right, Austin?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. No, Kent's job is safe. He does graphics and stuff. He's got the stable spot. It'd be interested to see if like we took like a tally chart of all the people it's missed. I imagine Kent's got to be like
He's like a blister. He shows up after the work's done.
That's right. Oh my gosh, it's like the opposite of what he is in the Pick'em series. He's leading in that category. He's not leading anything else in the Cup series, I'll say. But all right, Austin. Well, since Kent's not here, I will let you take over and you can talk about the track logistical aspects of Mexico City.
Yep. Mexico City is historically a Formula One track. Officially, the title of the track, if my page will load. Oh, great. It reset. That's great. That's just fine.
Woohoo! That's what you wanted, right?
That's right. That's exactly what I wanted. The Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez is a 2.6 mile long road course, 4+ kilometers if you're not used to the English metric system. In Mexico City, Mexico, in total, there are 17 turns on the circuit. And man, it's a fun track. Being an F1 fan, this is one of my favorite tracks for many reasons. The first being it's usually in my time zone. The race is usually in my time zone. The second is I love the way it's built. This time, I would like to share my screen with you guys and go over the track layout and what we can expect from the track, if it'll do it.
Hopefully it works.
Yeah, watch it not work now. I'm clicking the button.
Why do not learn technology?
Okay. All right. So give it a second. And it should share. Come on.
Dang it. I was hoping that would be timed out a little bit better.
Sound effects.
Come on.
I think this is the one you were looking at. This one's on Reddit.
It's true if it's on Reddit.
That's right. I mean, it's the word of God.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to risk it on that.
Alrighty. Yeah, I think this is the exact one. God, Austin's just completely gone.
He has canceled our podcast. This thing has pissed him off.
Oh my God.
Well, Cole,
Look,
back
I
down.
found it.
Look, he just had to leave for it to be efficient.
I bet you his computer shut down on him. I bet you that's 100% of what happened.
Oh, nice. Well, we'll talk about the road course, kind of like some first, second look observations. It looks like going into turn one, it's going to be a huge opportunity for passing there into turns 2 and 3, and then honestly, turn 4 looks like another great passing too. It looks like I don't have my glasses with me, but it looks like 6 and
6 and 7 looks like a straight.
yeah,
I think 6 and 7 is where you're going to be catching a lot of momentum, I would say.
yeah,
And then you're going to cut into 8 and 9.
which looks like that's going to be a lot more of your technical part of the track. And then I'd say if anybody's pissed off at anybody, you're going to see it down there in turns 13 through 17, especially if they're coming in for the win. And somebody,
Look, Austin, I found it.
we were talking about you're good. We were just kind of talking about our observation of the track. Just
You're talking about a rookie observation.
Starting with the little red arrow, that is, of
Yeah.
course, the start finish.
tell us impart your wisdom to us.
What you have is a nice long straight, good for passing, kind of almost a dive bomb corner into turn number 1. And then you have kind of a quick little S turn. So what the drivers will be really able to do is if you want to get somebody on a switchback before getting on the long straight after turn 3, you can just brake a little earlier. That way you can get a better run off 2 and 3. Then you go down into a true dive bomb turn, which then turns into a left turn, and then a hard right to try and get a little more straightaway before you have a little hook. There at turn 6, go down another straightaway, and then you go into the S's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then you have another area which is considered a passing zone between turn 11 and turn 12. And then when you get to 13, 14, and 15, you're at the most famous part of this circuit, which is called the stadium. So what Mexico City has done, I had a picture pulled up, but I'm not going to share it because I don't want to break my setup. But it is notorious and famous. It's literally feels like a stadium as you're riding through it, and then that carries you on to a little turn, which then again takes you to pit road and to the start finish line. So what I expect to happen is there's going to be a lot of passing opportunities on the front stretch, and then the 2 other passing zones. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for passing. Several dive bomb corners where guys are going to have a chance to either pass or set up a pass on the very next straight. It should be very interesting. Do you have the picture, Cole? Okay, go ahead.
I do. I was just waiting for you to finish.
It encapsulates what
I know if I can
trying to get across.
This is a little bit smaller than what you have, but it kind of, yeah. I love how they just put a big old freaking thing right there in the middle of it. They're like, I want to make sure no one steals my picture here.
Yep. And that is basically a sold out
stadium portion that you were talking about, right?
Grandstand area there between turns 13 and 15. For a Formula E race, the electric series of a Formula or from the FIA, this place brings it. Mexico City loves racing, so I'm really hoping that'll be packed out for the Cup race this weekend. The track was most recently repaved in 2015. 2015 is when the last repave happened because that's when Formula One returned to Mexico City. So fairly recent repave. Does get a good bit of racing done on it. A lot of series race on it. Everything from Formula One. There you go. That's a good shot of it. Formula One, Formula E. Now NASCAR is racing there with their 2 series. Next NASCAR Mexico races there. 24-hour endurance series races there, and so there's a lot of series that race on this track. But I will say from my experience with Formula One, I know the Formula One tire compounds are different than NASCAR compounds. There's not usually a lot of tire wear. Usually for Mexico City, it's a one-stop race for Formula One. So halfway through the race, drivers will pit, and they'll only have to pit one time. So I don't know if tire wear is going to be a huge factor there or not with the Cup Series. I think maybe practice, since we get 2 practice sessions, I'm hoping those 2 practice sessions will really kind of give us a good gauge on how much we can expect the tire fall off to be, and to figure out if tires are really going to matter. But I think the thing that's going to be the most exciting, COTA was a good race, but we were very questionable about the passing zones. This has a lot more opportunities to pass in COTA, so I'm hoping that it'll be an interesting race. And that picture that you just showed, Cole, that was also a Formula E race as well. So again, a packed out grandstand for that as well. So this place seats in total, not just this grandstand, but the entirety of the track seats about 110,000 people. It sells out for Formula One. I don't know if it'll sell out for NASCAR or not, but it is a beautiful track. I think you guys will enjoy the racing on it. I'm excited. Usually I'm not excited for a Cup race on a road course, but this one I'm actually excited for. 2015.
Oh, and I'd say, if you ever been to Mexico before, it ain't the coolest place on earth, So I'm sure that sun beating down on the asphalt, and obviously, like you said, Austin, tires gonna be a lot different. But Carl, you alright if I get into the tires here?
Yeah, that was kind of my
You're
try at a natural transition there for you.
Yeah, so with it having about 10 years on the sun, in the Mexico City sun, and 2.6 miles, I think those are going to be conditions where tire wear can play a factor. Obviously, Cup's there, so a lot of this is super unknown. But what they are doing is they are bringing prototypes that they raced this past year down in Austin to Mexico City, and if you remember from that race, tires definitely mattered, especially there towards the end of the race. You saw Kyle Busch, great battle with like Byron, Christopher Bell, all them. Kyle Busch, he just on some strategy. He just he wore his rear tires out. Other guys were able to pass him, and that's what you would obviously want to see from a road course race. The guy who conserves his tires is going to be able to pass. The guy who wears them out, he's going to eventually fall back. So, I think that brings a little bit of optimism for the tires, because the tires definitely mattered, and I thought they did a really good job wearing out about just the way you would want down in COTA. Just to foreshadow for these same tires will be used at Sonoma, Chicago, and the Glen coming up. And I will say there is a 40% chance of rain down in Mexico City. At least that's how it was on my phone. Cole or Austin, what y'all got there? Is it showing?
A lot of rain.
Yeah, so I saw and this was as of 9 o'clock on Tuesday night Eastern time. There was a 40% chance of rain on Saturday for Xfinity, and 40% chance of rain on Sunday. So, with it being a road course, they do use their wet weather tires. They do bring those. They will have 5 sets of wet weathers for the race, so you could see some strategy if it does rain and the track's able to dry. Who goes back onto the slicks? You'll have a lot of strategy there. That's what's going on for Cup for Xfinity. They're bringing their standard tire for road courses, always a really good tire. And for the rain tires, you'll have 3 sets available. So, be on the lookout for that. That seems like it could definitely play a factor. A lot of unknowns, but sometimes that's what can make it exciting.
It's gonna rain.
That's
what's gonna happen. The fan side of it, I think there's many ways you can look at this. First of all, these one-off or these tracks that make their debut races, here lately, they've all been fantastic. So, Chicago, first year, I had SVG, first start ever, won his first NASCAR Cup Series race. Rockingham, the truck and the Xfinity race that they started back this year, which Rockingham's up for sale now. So I'm hoping someone freaking buys it so they can bring more races. But that was okay. I got you. I'll take a small loan here.
Put your money where your mouth is. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anybody that knows how much money that I can dish out for anything knows that is not going to happen. But I think that it has a great possibility of being just a great race overall. I think the way that Prime does their broadcasts and whatnot, I think that I think that the way that they use the interaction with the crowd and whatnot, I think the crowds could be electric, just like you would see at your football games. I think that it would be. I think it's going to be great. I think it will be. And then on top of that, man, there's a lot of things that you can look at as a fan. One thing that I'm looking at, and I've heard a lot of talk about, is the elevation of the track and in Mexico in general, and how that's going to wreak havoc on these drivers that are not prepared. I know there's certain drivers that have been going to, I know John Hunter, I think is what they said, has been going to Jimmy Johnson's house where there's a lot of elevation. I think he lives in Arizona?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember what the specific place was, but it was high elevation.
That does. When I was with our friend Matt, when I went out to Colorado Springs, where he was from, the U.S. Olympic team, they train out there because of how high the elevation is out in Colorado. So obviously with Arizona, you got the Rockies kind of on the tail end. That would make them.
And then you have like the chambers and stuff that you can essentially act like you're having that elevation change, which I think is going to play a crucial role. I think it's not necessarily going to be the best equipment. I think it's going to be the best equipment plus the best driver that is acclimated to these conditions, especially racing in them. We've seen instances where we had individuals come out of these cars, even these regular atmosphere, standard elevation tracks. I think of Bowman one year, he's sitting there about gassed out of his mind, sitting there, and Bubba Wallace throws the water on him. Everybody remembers that. There's been all kinds. So adding this elevation change, it's going to be interesting as a fan to watch and see how your favorite driver adapts to it. There's going to be a lot of people complaining. I 100% believe that. There's going to be a lot of complaints on the radio. And if you are a fan of NASCAR, everybody loves like the NASCAR Radioactive.
Yeah.
So I would expect all the radios to be muy caliente, as they say. It's going to be very, very spicy. I think spicy is what is it, Austin? Certified translation expert.
What?
Caliente.
Yeah. It's just hot, spicy.
Hot. Yeah, it's going to be very, very rich in material. Que rico. But I think that I took some Spanish.
I know it was good. It surprised me.
Yeah, that's right. Muy huevos. Many huevos.
Caliente huevos.
Spicy huevos. Spicy eggs. Oh my goodness. But that's going to move into our spicy take segment. What a transition. That's like a... Oh. I missed mine. I said that Chevrolet was going to sweep the weekend at Michigan. It would have been nice for them to do that. Hocevar about did it in both races, but it is what it is. Austin, I believe you did not hit yours.
Kyle Busch did not win the race, so no.
Yeah. I know Blake didn't hit his. I think it was slightly off, and Kent even have one last week.
I think so. If he did, it wasn't.
What are y'all's overall spicy takes this weekend? I will let the goatee is speaking to me today. I think Austin needs to go.
A spicy take from Mexico City. I will say SVG does not get a top 5. You know what? I'll take it up a notch. SVG doesn't get a top 10.
Okay, even more spicy. That's going to be great when someone takes SVG with their first pick and the Pick'em series with me. I'll tell you what, man. I want to say Ty Gibbs sweeps the weekend. I think he wins the Xfinity race and he wins the Cup race.
Man, I was going to say that too.
Okay, well, you can have it then. I'll figure
No,
something
I
else
don't want
out.
it. I really don't want it.
I want it.
Be like Jon Snow in the last few seasons of Game of Thrones, where like, you need to be the king. He's like, I don't want it.
Yeah, that's right.
She is my queen. All right, then we'll choose something else then.
I'm gonna say that.
You think NASCAR writes the narrative right there?
I'll say that next right there. We'll put it like that.
How decent is he at road course races? I know he's
He won
what?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, he won at Sonoma, sure.
A
But
couple
immediately,
Glenn.
let's say immediately, it's not like outstanding. It's like at select tracks that he's really good at, right? Which Mexico City you would obviously think would be a good track for him. So.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll say
Okay. Well, I mean, the Xfinity Series, I could definitely see he's in a freaking Junior Motorsports car. I think should be a rocket ship.
yeah, for sure.
If Zelich doesn't win it, he probably will.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and Kent's spicy take is he don't freaking got one because he didn't text none. Nobody. At least he gave us our picks for the weekend. All right, Senor Austin, take it away.
Gracias, papi chulo. So with Xfinity, well, let's go ahead and recap. Let's go ahead and recap trucks, even though we don't pick this week. So trucks was a miserable day for me. I picked Hocevar.
It was a miserable weekend for you, wasn't it?
Last in both series. Hocevar, I finished last. I forgot the color code on the sheet, but I believe it was I finished last.
Yep.
I think
I was next.
Cole after me, then Blake, then Kent.
Yeah.
Somehow Kent got the win with Corey LaJoie. So
last with Chastain.
Actually, yeah, Blake's last, didn't he? Chastain finished like 30-something.
Yeah, Chastain finished like 20. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was last.
In other words, we suck this weekend on the trucks.
I got almost a top 10. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we make up for it in Cup. Let me tell you.
Oh boy. But regardless, we didn't do well. Kent got first, I believe, with Corey LaJoie. I don't have the updated points because I've been slacking on my job.
Frick, just add them up right now. It's not that hard.
So, let's see. Blake got last.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Kent.
Who did you
got first?
Who'd you have, Austin?
I had Hocevar.
Okay, yeah, I had Ross. He finished 26, so I was.
Austin,
Okay.
I got it fixed for you. Just look beside of it in Pocono's box.
Okay. And Cole, you finished third.
Yep.
Or you finished second. Yeah, you finished second. All right, so so as it stands, Blake has officially lost his first place spot.
No.
Kent has 33 points. Blake has 32. I have 28. And Cole has 27 in the truck series.
Suck.
We will pick the trucks next week for Pocono, but now we'll go to Xfinity. We have not picked Xfinity since Nashville. I came in last that week, believe it or not. A guy that finished 7th. Blake finished 3rd with Eric Almirola, finished in P6. Kent picked Chastain, I believe, who finished P5. Mayer was picked by Cole, who finished P3. So I have first pick for the Xfinity Series, and I will, without hesitation, pick Connor Zelich.
I understand.
Ooh.
So, Blake, you, my friend, cannot pick Love, Allgaier, or Almirola.
Well, let's just go Suarez.
Okay. All right.
That means Kent's going to get who I was going to pick, so I got to choose.
Who's that?
Different. Gibbs was his 3rd pick, wasn't it? Because he had Zelich.
Bell.
Oh, he had Bell?
Yeah.
Oh, they're that gummy.
I'll take it.
Gibbs.
I'll take Ty Gibbs. Yeah, and the 19. Fantastic in road course races back in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
Especially Road America. He's really good at Road America.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So looking ahead at our standings for the Xfinity Series, I'm in first place with 37 points. Cole is second with 35. Kent and Blake are tied for 34. all of our championship picks are locked and loaded. So looking ahead to the Cup Series this week, or looking back rather, I don't have the positions written down, but I do have them color-coded. I finished last with Austin Cindric. That loose tire really screwed him over. I think he finished like P31. Cole
Third.
had Gibbs, who finished third, and then Kent had Busher, who finished second, and then Blake had Hamlin, who finished first. So 1, 2, 3, 31. So looking ahead to Mexico City, I cannot pick Byron, I cannot pick Reddick, I cannot pick Cindric. If I'm being honest, the guy that I am considering for this race is a guy who raced on this track 20 years ago. It'll really depend on how practice goes. Thankfully, we get 2 practice sessions on Saturday to get a good sample of speed and race speed. But I'm looking at Dinger. Dinger has raced at this track. Granted, it was a long time ago, but the layout has not changed. And, you know, he's our road course ringer, one of our road course ringers, if you will. He seemed very optimistic about Mexico City in his post-race interview this past weekend at Michigan. So I'm looking at Dinger. So after that is Cole. Cole, my friend, you can't pick Reddick, Hamlin, or Gibbs. So no Toyota for you. So who are you looking at going into Mexico City?
It's a tough one. Obviously, Denny Hamlin, right? Because I'm kidding. Because they announced that Hamlin, if his baby is not delivered by the time he goes to Mexico City, he's not making the trip at all. So Ryan Truex will probably start in that 11 car.
Unless she has the baby by Thursday.
Unless the baby comes out. So honestly, I'm looking at 2 guys. I was looking at Busher earlier in the week. This week, I would consider him. But, I mean, my mind obviously goes to SVG. It's just trying to pick the race that SVG is going to win at a road course is what the next few weeks are going to be for us. It's like, which one can pick him correctly? Because I don't think he's going to win every single road course race. But I don't know, the way that the braking zones are kind of structured, I feel like it would kind of play into a supercar background, in all honesty. So I feel like SVG...
Getting them elbows out.
Yeah, I think SVG, he will probably try to flip all the stages that he can and go for the win, obviously, because the points are not going to matter. And that's going to be an interesting thing, because if someone picks a driver that just wants to flip points, they could have a decent day. You could finish last and win 2 stages, but you just have to pick that driver that wins both stages. So, but I'd probably go SVG.
All right. Kent ain't here, so frick him. So, Blanco, you cannot pick Bell, Chastain, or Hamlin. Who are you considering going into this weekend?
I am looking at Kyle Busch. He did good at COTA with this tire package, and if I'm not mistaken, he raced there same time Dinger did.
Many moons ago.
He won that race in the Xfinity Series.
Yep, so I think he's a winner there. I'd be interested to see how he does this week.
Hopefully he leaves his gun at home.
Ball knowledge, as the kids say these days. So, updated standings after this week. I'm still in the lead with 48 points. Cole is trailing just a little bit behind in 43. Blake and Kent are trailing way behind. Blake is at 38 points and Kent is at 36 points. If the season ended today, it would not matter whether he won his championship pick or not. So Kent's got to start pulling it together, but here we are. You know, we're at the summer stretch. We got some weird tracks coming up, road courses, Indianapolis, Dover, some weird tracks that are tricky and difficult to pick. We got Atlanta coming up in 2 weeks after Pocono. So that's a dice roll right there. So, you know, a lot of season left. We're not even close to the playoffs right now.
I think the next little bit of stretch is going to be the most interesting for us for the Pick'em series, but I don't think it's going to be the best overall racing that we've seen middle of the year in years past. I just think they've loaded so many road course races back to back. It's just going to feel like, here we go. Here's another road course race. Now they have a little bit different personality to them. I'll give it that, but...
Well, the in-season tournament is the thing this year, too.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bull hockey.
You think so?
I think it's stupid.
I mean, I feel like on the viewership side, I mean, I feel like it goes off a little bit in the summer. I think it might be. I mean, it'll add in the storylines. See if any driver will be willing to do something. I mean, think of like a Almond thing, or maybe like a Michael McDowell with some road course racing meetings. Like you might have like a dark horse winner end up winning that $1 million with how many what's the word I'm looking for? As many wild card races there are.
I don't know, man. I just think the way they seated the thing is stupid. I mean, Ricky kind of talked about it on the door bumper clear. He's going to be seated against Ryan Blaney. And I'm like, Ricky Stenhouse is a 20 seed, and he's going against Ryan Blaney, and that's just stupid.
Yeah, I think by points it might be a little bit more, I guess, pure, if you will. But I think it'll be. I'm sure they'll adjust it to go on. But I mean, you got to.
Didn't they do it last year? Like they did something similar to it last year.
Denny did a bracket challenge, and I think maybe. Yeah, Denny did, but I don't think it wasn't like $1 million that NASCAR was paying.
It was more so for the fans. If the fans won some sort of money.
Yeah. So another idea that NASCAR stole from Denny Hamlin. All right, cool.
Hey, real quick though, before we go off air, Dodge, welcome back to NASCAR.
Yeah, well,
you're right. It's Hemi, Ram. The Ram is back. So stupid. People don't understand that Ram and Dodge are basically the same freaking thing. Sorry.
You seem agitated.
I'm always agitated. I just mask it up underneath all this.
You know, the handsomeness.
That's right.
Let the podcast be therapeutic.
Oh man, it already is. You don't even know.
That's right.
We get to talk about how sucky Fox is almost on a week in to week out basis, even though they're not covering the Cup Series anymore.
I know. I hope we don't sound like we're being dead drum, but man, I'm so glad that part of the season's over.
I think Prime will probably do the Mexico City a big favor in the way that they cover the broadcast. Like I see them going maybe. Do they have an infield where people can camp and stuff, Austin?
Not really. I mean, there'll probably areas where they could stand by the fences and watch, but the place is pretty well covered with trees and stands.
I tell you what would be cool. I don't know if they'd. I always enjoyed it when Junior was on the NBC broadcast and they did the radio style broadcast. That would be cool to see, I think, for Mexico.
They'll have to, probably.
They have to, yeah. They have to do that almost all the road course races.
Yeah, you want to talk about really getting the fans involved? I mean, I think I'm excited for that.
Put a fan on the microphone in one of the turns. Here they come! God. Good thing we don't have any viewership in Mexico.
Vamos!
Oh my goodness. All right. We are going to head off.
Yeah, the number 12, Ryan Blaney.
Oh my goodness. It's going to be, what was it that the fans that were screaming at Suarez that one year? Was it Que Pasa? That they were screaming when he came around? You remember what it was?
I don't.
I was talking to Blake. Blake's the one that started this bullcrap.
I started it.
Yes, you started.
What did I start?
Oh my God.
No, I think it was. Yeah. I think that.
It was in Daytona, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right. You're right.
See? Freaking idiot. Can't remember nothing.
What are you good for, Blake? What are you good for?
I am.
Hey, possum motherfrickers. Goodbye.